I was reminded recently that once the Hollywood stars started happening, which has not been much longer than my lifetime, what they did is they said the Chamber of Commerce in Hollywood was going to vote to see who got to have a star. And if they passed the muster of the Chamber of Commerce, then whoever nominated them paid for the star. And that was their way of how they decided who got on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, near where I grew up. So very early in the process, they offered one to Billy Graham because he had been so involved in radio broadcasting. In fact, he was the first televangelist to ever be offered the idea and the concept, and I believe the only one still there. And he waited for decades and said, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's a good place for me. Finally, back again in 1989, in October, he said, you know what? Maybe that's a way I can be remembered for the gospel I preach. And if so, then yes, I'm going to take that. So decades after he was first nominated, he said, okay. When he did, he knelt down and he was praying that that's what would happen with this star. And you can see him here with his Bible in his hand and his family and ministry workers with him. And it made me start to think about, what do we think about a star? Now, the obvious question is, well, did Jesus ever get a star? And the answer is not on the Hall of Fame, but there is a Jesus star at a nearby church or Christian center, depending on how you look at it, which I understand is on Wilshire between Highland and La Brea. Now, that is in front of a Christian place. This is not one that was voted in the way the Hollywood Star Hall of Fame is, but it is one that the church said, we want our people to understand. We think Jesus is the Son of God and how important that is to us. Now, I want to talk to you about a different star. Back in Scripture, 2 Thessalonians 4 says this, I am already being poured out like a drink offering. The time when I leave is near. That's Paul talking. He says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And now there is a crown waiting for me. It is given to those who are right with God. The God who judges fairly will give it to me on the day he returns. He will not only give it to me, he will also give it to all who are longing for his return. You've been nominated. You've been nominated for a special award from God himself. And the only person it takes to get you nominated and be accepted is you. There is a star in heaven with your name on it. You don't have to pay anybody to have it. It's just there waiting for you. Where God says, you are the one I am so proud of. You are a star. Whatever gift I gave you, whatever ministry I gave you, it's there because you have done that ministry. So do the ministry, because what happens is we don't really get a star like this, do we? Not in heaven. And heaven has a hard time explaining to us exactly what we will get. But what it does say is that we will be rewarded, and it calls it crowns. We'll get crowns in heaven. And it's not so we can go around and wear them and say, see, I got a bigger crown than you or a better crown than you. It says what we're going to do is we're going to lay them at the feet of Jesus as our offering, because we have nothing else to give except what God has given to us. And so as we love him and want to offer him something, we don't have anything else to offer except our love and whatever he has given to us. That's why you want to live the life today that earns you crowns. In fact, there's some discussion about exactly how many crowns are mentioned in the Bible and which ones are really the kind of crowns we're talking about here. It could be anywhere from 1 to 15 from what I've seen. But here's the thing, it doesn't really matter what the crowns are. It's whatever God has designed, gifted, and created you to come up with and to have. And that is the only thing that will matter in heaven. So he says, don't lay up treasures here on earth, but lay up treasures in heaven. And that is my challenge for you today. I want you to take one thing that God has told you He has called, gifted, and created you to do, and go do that one thing this week. That's the challenge. That's the encouragement. That's my prayer for you. God bless.